We could also just save the Hades till John gets back too.
Yeah, especially since he's made a more significant amount of progress than I've made
since the last time we talked about it. You mean?
Yeah, because he's hit the credits now. So
nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
cool.
It's a more substantial change. Like I'm still way ahead of him.
Did you check your hours before?
Oh fuck! Let me do that right now.
No, you don't have to. I just know you said you were going to. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nollery.
Hey, everybody.
And DJ Mandolini.
Yo.
And it's just the three of us again this week. We'll have John back again soon, I think. They're working him to the bone.
Yes, they are.
These days at work, but he'll be back with us soon. Hopefully, we're missing you, John. Hopefully, you're not working you too hard. But, yeah, why don't we all talk about some Killer Queen?
Yes.
Because that is Killer Queen Black, that is, I should say. Because we've actually talked about Killer Queen a long time ago on the podcast. We went to Logan Arcade here in Chicago, DJ and I think it was for your birthday, right, DJ?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we played some Killer Queen, which is the only difference there is that's 5-on-5. It's like a dual screened arcade cabinet, where you're facing each other so you can't see the other team, almost like Battleship style,
right?
Like the board game. And yeah, so this is essentially the same game, but 4-on-4. We're playing it on Nintendo Switch. It just recently went on sale for $2. So I think Randall already had it.
I sure did.
The rest of us jumped on it and said, okay. And we've actually been jumping online and playing a bunch. DJ and I actually just got done playing some with our buddy Glenn before we hopped on the podcast tonight. And yeah, Randall, we've unfortunately not been able to sync up with you, but I know you've been able to play some as well.
Oh yeah.
What are you thinking so far?
I'm really into it, and even though I bought it a while ago, I just never got around to booting it up. It was on a sale, way back when, like end of last year. I think it was like $10-12. I'm like, I've heard enough good things. I've seen the arcade machine like at PAX and at like the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, but never got a chance to actually play it. But saw enough over people's shoulders to be like, oh, this looks really cool. This is right up my alley. And then they released this version, which obviously has online play. I'm like, let me get after that. And then I'm sure a factor for them doing this sale for $2 across the board was like, hey, let's get a huge influx of players into, our servers so that people can find matches easily. And yeah, that's been my excuse to like, all right, yep, let's update the file on my Switch. Let's jump online. And I've been having a blast with it in the couple of nights I played. What about you guys?
Yeah, why don't you chat a little, DJ? You're definitely the better between the two of us. DJ's holding it down. At least I've had some good games here and there, but like, I don't know. Like, I'll sometimes when I'm the queen, I'll like think for a quick second, like, oh, I'm getting the hang of it. I think I'm getting good at this game, and then the next match, I just get slaughtered. So you're able.
Queen is tough.
Yeah, well, but DJ's able to hold his own at least a little better.
I mean, it's just nice to like have this as a video game because like, when you're, at the arcade playing this, you definitely feel the pressure way more to like, okay, if I'm going to be the queen, I better be good because there's a lot of people in line that like want to play. It's just like, am I just wasting everyone's time?
Right.
But yeah, to be more leisurely about it. And I think they did like a good job, like maybe balancing the game a bit more. So like, the queen is still, very dominant, but I feel like, the workers have a bigger influence than they did in the arcade version.
Interesting.
I guess I got the feeling before, like, you get a good queen and like you're done. And that there is a bit of that in the video game version too.
Oh yeah.
But, like their new upgrades you can get in the gates, like a spinning mace or a laser rifle that kind of gives you more ways to combat against a really good queen.
Right.
So I felt that it's a more accessible experience than the arcade experience. The arcade experience, though, like, it's just awesome for like that high energy with like everyone together like yelling like, oh, we got to go here.
There's always people like even like the little crowd of people watching, and like that's the only bummer. Sometimes there's like a tournament and you can't play at all, at the arcade just because there's only 2 cabinets. But when you are able to play, there's usually like a little crowd, and you just kind of feed off it. It kind of feels like old school arcade days,
right?
You know?
Playing fighting games or something. Yeah.
It's been nice
and it gets intense. People get serious.
It's been nice to get kind of a glimpse of that when we're just like all voice chatting while playing.
Yeah, it's been really fun because a lot of times we'll like not every game. Like if we're playing Rocket League, sometimes we voice chat. Sometimes we're just like, I'm going to listen to a podcast and we'll just play online together. But this one's like you really want to be chatting and like talking about strategy and what do we need to do. It's I don't know. It's just like a really engaging online game, and it's just so quick to get the hang of. As long as you've played some retro style arcade games or platformers in your life, it's like you're gonna get it really quickly. You are able to remap the controls. At first I was like, I hate the A button being this, so I was able to switch that to my preference, and like I always love that, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And the one thing we've had a little bit of trouble with is getting into a ranked match, like when we're all partied up.
We've had some trouble, like serious. Actually.
Well, we're just kind of curious. I've been able to get into ranked matches when I'm playing solo.
Yeah.
And I've had a mixed bag there too. It's been kind of the same deal as the quick play, like just total, like sometimes getting completely slaughtered in seconds, and sometimes, where there's a queen who just unstoppable, and then sometimes where it's, kind of feels just like a regular game and we're holding our own and even winning some. So
I feel a little bit of a compulsive need to explain to the listeners what Killer Queen Black is, because we haven't quite done that yet. In case they don't know,
podcast.
I mean, it's been out for a little while, but I feel like it's still an indie game that maybe folks haven't seen. But yeah, it's 4-on-4 game where you have 3 basically worker bee characters that can either fill up the hive with these, like, what are those? Do they even give a name to those little
berries?
We call them berries.
Yeah. Like,
somebody, wasn't Rosie calling them grapes? I thought that was pretty funny. They are purple.
So as a worker bee, you could go and like focus on either grabbing these berries and filling up to the necessary amount of slots in a given level on your side. Doing that, but of course, while you're doing that, you could get killed by the opposing team's queen or other upgraded characters. But yeah, you also have a queen on your team, and the queen's main job is either kill the other queen or keep the other team from meeting their objectives, which, you could fill up your berries, or you could ride the snail to a given checkpoint. And the snail's I love the snail personally. When I'm a worker bee, I always go snail. Because it's kind of like this tug of war match that's happening a bit.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah. Where like I jump that snail first, I'm on the snail, and because it's a snail, it's very slow, and you're very like out in the
vulnerable.
Open. Yes, very, very vulnerable. But I'm willing to take that risk because it focuses. It kind of changes the momentum of the match to me, where it forces some of their opposing players to either like come deal with you and pulls away their energy from what they're doing, or I'm just going to walk all the way and, win it, which I've definitely done multiple times. So, there's a few different win states. The other win state is you could kill the opposing queen 3 times. So, I love that there's those different aspects, and that keeps it so interesting that it's not just like you win in this one specific way. You have 3 different ways you could win a given match, and it's best of, 5?
Best of 5, And it has a great, those 3 elements balance out really nicely.
Super
Again,
well.
Sometimes the teams are so unbalanced, like you're so outmatched, it's not going to feel that way.
Yeah.
But if you're in like a relatively even matched tournament or round or whatever, it feels really great because when you do get the snail, like we've had a couple matches where the snail's like right on the edge and like everyone's a military character where again you can have like a sword or a mace and one of the things I love is you can get like a lightning bolt that speeds up your character, and then once you get that, you can actually go into and get another weapon, and then you are sped up, and you can even ride the snail with the speed.
I haven't even gotten to that point yet. Wow.
Yeah, so you can kind of stack that, but once you're once you turn into like a military character, you're not able to upgrade again because you have to carry one of those berries like into the gate, essentially, or like into this little upgrade room.
Yes.
And then you get to pick one of two things. But yeah, if you get the lightning bolt, the speed burst essentially first, you can stack that with the next thing you grab.
I wonder if you could
really
do
cool.
lightning bolt plus shield and then go military. Like I feel like that would be doable.
Yeah, because you can stack the shield, right, as well with other things. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can only do those upgrades if your queen has marked those rooms. Am I correct in that? Or
or if they're neutral,
upgrades?
if they haven't been marked at all yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
and it's so like we were just talking about it earlier. Like I was the queen, and like you basically just have to like touch one of the gates or just fly right past it to turn it to your team's color. But yeah, like I'll feel like I just go through, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get all the gates and I'll get all 4 or 5 of them. And then 2 seconds later, DJ and Glenn are yelling at me, we need gates. So like, it's like, because the other queen was probably just chasing me. And right 2 seconds after, not even, probably a split second after I get them, just because it just changes instantly. You don't have to like stand there and like charge it up or anything. And it's kind of fun. Somebody actually described this game on Twitter. They commented on one of our tweets about it and said they would describe the game almost as like Joust meets Team Fortress.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of like a really simple way. He's like, that's how I've been trying to get my friends into it, is what he was saying. I was like, oh, that definitely makes sense.
Totally.
If you're just trying to get straight to the point, because it's just that single screen arcade game. The screen wrapping mechanics are really cool too. Like it can be frustrating when you get taken out, but it feels so good when you like dive bomb from the bottom of the screen right to the top and get a kill on the queen or something. It just feels so good.
It does. Although when I'm the queen and I die quickly, I feel so stupid. But yeah, it's a hectic game.
It can be super frustrating. Yeah. But I can't end on a loss, so I'm just going to keep playing.
Typical DJ fashion. What's like your strategy, DJ, when you're not the queen? What's like your go-to strategy, or is it kind of same thing? Is it just like a case-by-case basis?
What I felt is least valuable has been going for berries, like the economic victory. Like I just feel like that's
it just
so
depends,
uncommon.
though. I think if the whole team is on the same page, you can really dominate that. Potentially.
Yeah, but I don't know. I usually feel like my queen needs some sort of support. So I'll typically go military, and sometimes like I'll go snail, because I do agree with Randall, like having that pressure on them to like, you have to either confront this or do something else. Like force them into a spot where they can't just run away or what have you.
Like now you have to focus on my game plan. Like, what are you going to do about me? Like, I'm taking you out of your element and kind of changing the momentum of the match and like throwing you out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
And maybe even bringing their queen into the action. And again, like one of the things I'll do is like, I'll go military and like protect either the queen or like go to try to kill their queen is what I meant. Or I'll maybe protect the snail. And like, cause if you have 2 military, like especially if you have the mace, you can like I've been able to really just mow some people down and get a couple of those nonstop snail victories where somebody just takes it straight from the middle of the screen all the way to the end without hopping off.
Satisfying,
which is great. Yes. Oh yeah. And all those little rewards at the end of a game for like a headshot, or like we got a family portrait where like which is if you get if the screenshot it like kind of zooms into like a little hexagon or like a honeycomb kind of thing, and if every player on your team is in the final screenshot, you get a little family portrait, like achievement or whatever you want to call it. But it's just so fun to get the little headshot things or the hat trick or whatever. It's just like it really knows how to keep you wanting to keep playing.
Yeah.
On top of the game just being really good and fun.
It is like its own esport, essentially.
Yeah.
It's good.
For sure. And that's definitely how it feels at the arcade. It feels like a sport.
Yeah.
Especially when they got the tournaments going on. So
that's awesome.
It feels great to be able to just fire this up at home and not have to be in a dingy arcade into the late hours of the night.
Especially these days.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Randall, I know a few weeks back, who knows, quite a few weeks back, we talked about I rattled off a handful of Xbox Game Pass games that I've been playing, and we landed on the Gardens Between that we wanted to talk about a little bit.
Yes.
And I know we both have been playing. I'm probably a little bit further than you. I'm like 4 hours in or so.
Oh, nice.
Maybe I always say 4 hours, and then I look at my playtime, and I'm like an hour and a half or 2 hours in. But I've sat down with the game at least 4 or 5 times for sure, and I feel like I've played about an hour each time. Last couple times I got stuck to the point where I have actually like looked up a YouTube video to see what the next. I'm so mad that I didn't figure out this stupid solution. But like I'm really mad at myself for not seeing it, because it's actually it was a really clever kind of cool puzzle that I'm kind of mad. It wasn't even the hardest puzzle on that particular level, but yeah, it's a really interesting game, like gameplay wise, because you have no direct control of a character, but at the same time you have 2 characters, and they're like, each level is kind of like this 3D kind of like snow globe diorama, essentially.
Diorama, yeah.
And it kind of like rotates around slowly, and you're basically just either you can use the joystick or the triggers. I kind of like using the triggers actually, left and right.
Wow.
I didn't realize and you can that. And it just makes time move forward or rewinds time.
Right.
And in some cases, there's a few different elements as the game goes on where like you can trigger this with one of the characters. Like I think it's a brother and sister. I'm not 100% sure, but that's like, there's no dialogue whatsoever in the game.
Right.
But it seems like they're like a brother and sister. The game starts out, they're just like hanging out in a tree house.
Yeah.
And like a lightning bolt strikes and time freezes and starts rewinding. And then you get sucked into like this fantasy world. And I love the dioramas, the way they look. I don't know how you feel, but like the style of this game is so pretty.
Very pretty.
It's just this like really like soft pastel, cool colors, and like just really nostalgic vibes. Like there's all kinds of like just 80s, 90s. Like it's just kind of like piles of junk, it seems like from like the kids' rooms or like toys, and it's really cool. Like the last level I was playing that I got stuck on, like one of the puzzles was I thought it was so cool. Like you're running across a keyboard, or it's like a little number pad.
Yeah.
Like an 8-digit or 9-digit number pad or 10-digit keypad, and like when you're jumping across it with the characters, they land on like certain keys, and you can see it spelling out those keys on the screen. And then as you move a little further along in time, you see this like dial that's like spinning, and like if you stop it at the perfect time, you can see like, oh, it's a combination lock, and you see this code. Then you got to rewind all the way back, and like you have to, because you have no direct control of the characters, you have to like move time forward and backwards just properly, and it's really slowly. So like it's not like you have to be like so touchy and whatever, and there's no punishment or anything really for fucking up. You can just like do it again, but like basically you have to just manipulate time to get it where you punch out that code with your feet by jumping on the keys, and then once that's entered, then you're able to like control the screen. And like there's like a few things on the screen, and then the next thing you activate is able to like, it prints out whatever you have selected on the screen by activating a printer. But again, you'll like with the brother character, again, I'm just going to call them brother and sister for the sake of this conversation.
Yeah.
But like the brother character can basically manipulate certain things that will like, it'll freeze all the rest of time and then only move time forward for this specific object. And then the sister character like carries this lantern that can either like kind of hold on to a source of light or a source of like darkness, or like if you walk by these little like flowers that have these little dark like black holes, essentially,
little black
it'll
holes.
suck the light out of the lantern.
And
you have to just kind of like solve these puzzles. But I'm going on and on about the mechanics. But what do you think about this game? Anything I kind of missed describing it there?
No, I think you did actually a really good job. Yeah, like you're adjusting the flow of time based on moving forward or backward, literally, with your 2 characters. The only other thing, you did touch on it, but just to kind of say again, like, even though for the most part there's kind of one path up this diorama level, typically, sometimes it can split out, and especially, as like the brother character, there might be certain things you can interact with that once you press a thing, maybe you go start walking down a different path or a different options available to you because you pressed a thing at a certain point on that path. And then move time forward enough, and maybe you'll hit a roadblock where you have to reverse back and hit it again or something to get your light source in a way that you were blocked before, and then like move forward again to get all the way to the top of the level, which is typically the end game, is like get to the top like portal of a given level, at least so far in the levels I've gotten to, although I'm also stuck, and I got stuck a lot earlier than you did. So
no, I've gotten stuck a few times. Yeah. I've gotten stuck a few times, and it's actually on this level that I was describing where you're jumping on the keypad.
Yeah.
I got kind of stuck on that. It took me a while to figure that out. Then it took me a while to figure out the next part with the printer. And then there's another part after that I still, again, had to pull up the YouTube because I was like, how can I not, like, I'm just never going to progress in this game. It almost, like, some of the puzzles have, like, this is going to sound harsher than I want it to because I do think most of them are really clever, but, like, they almost have that, like, point and click puzzle kind of vibe.
Yeah, no,
like, they're like,
sometimes
they're just a little...
Yeah.
too obtuse or not, because there's no dialogue and I love the choice of that and the aesthetics of that.
Yep.
But at the same time, it does leave you, at least me, scratching my head at times of like, what am I supposed to do? I mean, the game's so pleasant. It's never really frustrating.
Yeah.
In the sense that it's like you're not like beating your head against the wall, or it doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. There's no intensity there. It's just, it's just,
and there's no stakes. You're not dying. You're not getting game overs. But it's like, but they are at the same time, like they are really clever. Like that that combination of like the lock combination and then punching it in on the key card or on the keypad or whatever. I thought that was really cool. Once I did figure that out, I didn't look that up. That was something I did just kind of chip away at.
And another example is there was a earlier level that you shared a clip of on our Twitter account, I think. That where like a little robot character can carry your ray of light that often you'll have to bring with you to the top of the diorama. But because there's these black hole flowers or whatever else that could suck up your light, if you put it on this robot instead of carrying it with the girl character, like that robot character is kind of bouncing around as you're moving time forward up the up this diorama level, and you can do it in a way where if you're not careful, it can get sucked up too if you haven't hit like another switch. But if you hit that switch, then you're watching it bounce all the way to the top and you meet it at the top of the level. So like moments like that are really cool when they happen. But yeah, I did find myself wishing that a game like this I had on Switch instead of on Xbox. I can't complain too much because I'm playing it through Game Pass, so that's already like,
same here.
Taking care of cost, but like it feels like a game I'd rather have in handheld, like maybe while something's on TV type of thing.
Yeah, laying on the couch.
Yeah.
Were you and Tina able to play it together at all? Because I know I was kind of saying like it would be a good game for that. Like because there's really not that much direct control going on.
Yep.
You really could just be sitting there and saying, "Hey, try this," or "Hey, can you do that?" I mean, other than it's maybe a little more obvious to the player holding the controller what you can interact with and what you can't. But
that was a little bit of a hiccup that way. But yeah, she was certainly a help. Just having a second set of eyes of like, what if you tried to interact with that thing and then I like didn't really notice that, but yeah, it did do that. So like that definitely comes up in this game, and that's cool. And it's such a pretty game to look at, and it is so like generally chill and calm, and that's why I picked it in the first place, given these days, and I'm glad I did. I'm stuck again, and now I'm in something not chill and calm like Killer Queen Black, so what do I know?
I can't. I like it. For me, it's probably going to be a game I just kind of randomly fire up and play a few levels here and there. Because again, the nice thing is that it isn't like a game that you have to be so familiar with the set of mechanics it's like it's just going to be an easy pick up and play. So like you said, it would be nice to maybe just have on the go.
Yeah.
But yeah, really cool game. I'm digging it.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit tough or a little bit too. I don't know. Maybe the commitment to the non-dialogue is, it's as awesome as it is. It might hinder the. I don't know. It just some of the puzzles do trip you up, and I know that can be a frustrating experience for people. So.
Oh yeah, agreed.
Just want a fair warn on that end. But if you're okay with that, I'd say check this one out, especially if you got Game Pass.
Oh yeah, if you got Game Pass, it's a no-brainer.
No-brainer. Yeah. Well, real quick, or I shouldn't say real quick, because I got a couple of games I want to talk about, but I will go through the first one pretty quick here, although we'll probably talk about this a little back and forth,
That's
Randall.
right.
But I finally started playing Kero Blaster on Zangyou mode, and I kind of booted this up because, what was it, Zangetsu mode, DJ, on Bloodstained?
Bloodstained, yes, sir.
Yeah, and in my head I was like, oh, isn't that the same name of the mode in Kero Blaster? And I looked it up. I was like, no, it's Zangyou mode, which I forget what it means, but it's hard. And it's basically a hard mode. But the nice thing about this is like it's not just like, oh, the enemies have more health and the enemies have, or there's just like tougher bosses, which there are tougher bosses, but it actually is like totally redone levels. Like it uses the same tile set, but it's all 100% new levels.
I don't know if I realized that.
I didn't right away either because I mean, again, since they're using the same set of tiles, it looks very similar, and it's kind of the same set of 8 levels, but it is 8 new levels, and I think it actually came out like that was added to the game like a couple years after.
Oh my gosh.
It came out, and it was like a free update or something. I'll have to double check that. Which I won't do on this episode, so we'll see. You'll just have to take my word for it here. But I know it wasn't initially when the game came out, and then there is a hard mode that like is beat the game with 1 heart, basically, which is just forget about it. I don't know if it's like you can progress 1 level at a time, or if you actually have to beat the whole game without taking a hit, which is just forget it.
No,
but yeah, I was just really impressed that it's like. Going back to the game, like I am somebody who replays games often anyways, like games that I really, really like.
Yeah.
But giving me that extra incentive to go back, and it's not just like, oh, it's New Game Plus and you get to start with all your awesome equipment right at the start of the game. Like it actually is like a new game in this case.
Nice.
And another game I'm going to talk about in a little bit too has sort of something similar going on, but like this like really, really blew me away, and I'm almost done. I'm on the 7th of 8 levels, I think, and I almost want to say the story is even different. I could be wrong. It's been a while since I played the main campaign, but like it really just feels like a whole new game. It's the same mechanics, but like it really feels like a new experience to me. It feels just as fresh. I'm loving it. It's hard as fuck.
Oh,
like
my
I'm
God.
Getting my ass whooped by some of these bosses.
Like, but again, the regular mode is already a really tough game. Kero Blaster is not an easy game in the first place, and you're playing the hard mode of it now. Like, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, but the nice thing is that it doesn't have those limitations. Like, it's not like a hard mode of like, oh, you're capped out at this much health.
Right.
Like, it still uses that mechanic of like you're upgrading all your weapons and buying upgrades. And so if you do keep dying, you're still collecting coins. You don't lose the coins you collect or whatever. So you can keep dying, and then you can buy, the first few hearts are kind of cheap. But like now, if I want to upgrade another heart container, I think it's like 3,000 coins. Yeah. But at that point, like, right now I have like 800, so I got a ways to go. Like I'm not able to just willy-nilly spend my coins, but like they do let you kind of grind in a way, and like some of the later levels they do offer up quite a few 1-ups.
Nice.
But it's still pretty tough, but at the same time it is like a level by level type game where you get 3 lives at the start of each level, and you can just move on from there. But yeah, I'm loving it so much. I don't know. I love Cave Story so much, obviously. And Kero Blaster is such a great follow up. And I really want to check out, was unaware of this, but there's a game called Pink Heaven and then Pink something else that there was a game that came out before Kero Blaster that's in the same style. You play as one of the characters in the game. It was kind of like basically an ad for the game.
Oh,
Kero Blaster before it came out, and then he released like kind of a sequel, like follow up kind of epilogue sort of thing after the fact too. It's Pink Heaven and Pink Bullet, or I forget what it's called, but they're super short. I think there's just supposed to be like 5 or 10 minute little games, but still just so cool. Like his games are so charming.
I have such a soft spot for his games, like in my heart. I don't know like what it is about like Cave Story and Kero Blaster. They both have that vibe, and I just can't put my thumb on it. But yeah, it's just like I love it.
It's the combination of everything, I think. Yeah. It's like they got a good sense of humor. The music's obviously amazing. Like it's just so good.
Yes.
So upbeat and catchy. Like they're in my head constantly.
Yes.
The little cutscenes are like just, they're almost like they have like the vibe of like Pac-Man little cutscenes. They're a little longer than that, but it's just like a little quick vignette. Yeah, just a little quick vignette, a little like screaming and hollering, and then back to the action, and it's just like straight to it. I really, really like it a lot. Yeah, I love this game, and I'm looking forward to finishing Zangyou mode. I'm determined. I got 2 more levels to go.
Yeah, you're right.
I've made it to the boss on the 7th level a few times, and I just keep fucking dying.
That's what happens.
No matter what I do. Yeah. But yeah, I think we can just rest that there and say we both love Kero Blaster. And DJ, you got to check this game out, man. It's usually cheap, so and it's you. Have you played?
If you find that you can't beat it, I'll definitely be interested.
I think DJ would like it.
I think you would.
Probably would. It's just
hard.
Like, it's just been kind of off my radar.
Yeah. What about you?
You mention it a lot.
You still haven't played Cave Story.
I haven't. Yeah, I'm blind.
Oh man, and that's a tough one too. That's a nice tough game too. But yeah, so speaking of kind of New Game Plus or a different style of New Game Plus that I'm a big fan of, I just started firing up since you guys have been talking about a bunch of Super Mario 3D All-Stars lately.
Yes, sir.
I've been feeling left out, but I'm still sticking to my ground, or holding my ground, sticking to my guns, and I'm not buying that collection. It's not worth it to me. But I was itching for some 3D Mario action, so I booted up my 3DS for the first time in a long time and started playing Super Mario 3D Land.
Nice.
And I don't know. I just want to say first and foremost, I don't know what it is about Mario games, but they like usually when I sit down, I say this all the time. I have like an hour play session. I don't know what it is about Mario games, but when I start playing, I just don't fucking stop. I just play. I take a few breaks here and there. Like it's not like I beat it in one sitting, but like over the last 3 days, I just beat the whole first half of the game.
My man.
And I'll just say real quick, spoiler alert, this game's older. And it's not, I guess it's not it kind of is a good spoiler, but I think it's safe to talk about it.
I hope so, because I want to talk about what I know you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're going to talk about, so I need to know.
Well, you've played it, right, DJ?
Yeah, I played it some years ago, but, I'm in the minority here. I can already tell where, like, most 3D Mario games, it's like I play them and maybe a week later I forget them. Like, I never have, like, any desire to go back to a 3D Mario game, to be quite honest.
You do enjoy them, right? Like, you have fun playing them for the most part?
Sure, I have a fine time.
I would agree with you generally that I don't go back to 3D Mario nearly as much as I go back to 2D Mario on average.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess I could probably say
you
the
play
same. At least when it comes to Super Mario World. Yeah, Super Mario World, yeah. But like that's the only one I really play as far as the 2D Mario. I play some here and there of the like 3 and stuff every now and then, but World I fire up all the time, but anyways, yeah, 3D Land, I played this once before, and yeah, so once it's kind of got the regular style, and I love it's even got the kind of diorama style levels, like when you're in the world map, it's just kind of pretty straightforward, almost like Mario Galaxy 2, where you're just kind of moving along like a straight line, there's no map or anything really, but like every time you get to one of the nodes or one of the levels, there's like a diorama floating behind you, and the 3D in this game, by the way, is amazing.
It's great.
I don't care what anybody says. I turn up the 3D all the way on my 3DS the whole time while I'm playing. Sometimes I nudge it down a little bit if like I have the lights off or something.
Does it wear out your eyes over time?
No,
really?
Not. Like I said, I played in a bunch of like pretty long sessions, so it doesn't bother me. I really like it, and this is something I was thinking, like, I can't believe they didn't just throw this onto, like, the Mario 3D All-Stars. But, like, you mentioned in the Discord chat, Randall, it now that I'm playing it, like, they really utilize those 3D views quite a bit in the game.
Yep.
More than, it comes into play gameplay-wise a lot more than I would have ever thought. But, again, I still haven't gotten to... So, after you beat all 8 worlds, typical Mario style, you rescue Princess Peach, and then after that... It like the game, which before I get to that again, the Bowser battle is fucking incredible in this game.
What's
the best Bowser battle?
Hit me again with that. What do you do in this Bowser battle?
Yes, it is. It's very reminiscent of like most of the Bowser battles in this game are like kind of like Mario 1 style where you just have to get to the end and like jump on the plunger or whatever and knock out the bridge. But this one's like a super long like 3D platforming area where you're just like going up and down, and Bowser's like, it's very reminiscent of the Mario New Super Mario Brothers Wii, where he's like chasing you through like that lava cavern, but it's like a 3D version of that where you're just on these floating platforms that every time you touch one they start dropping, and he's shooting fireballs at you, and then when you think you kill him he comes back for a second round as like dry Bowser essentially. And he's dry bones, or maybe that's in the second part, but either way he comes back again and again, and it's just like, oh my god, it just feels so epic to me. I thought it was the best Bowser battle. What's your favorite Bowser battle, DJ?
It would have been the Super Mario Brothers Wii.
Yeah, that one is awesome. It's really great.
Yeah, that one's probably the most memorable to me, I think.
Yeah, I beat that on my first try too, but it was so fucking tense. Like I came so close so many times. Like it was one of the best memories I have of playing a Mario game.
Nice.
Of that, like just so coming so close. But anyways, so once you beat Bowser that time, so I'll finally get to the fucking point here.
Spoiler.
Spoiler alert. I guess we gave you fair warning on the spoiler. But yeah, then the game opens up, and at first you're like, oh, it just is like, go through this tube to access special levels, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. And then I'm thinking like, oh, there's going to be a couple cool extra bonus levels, and no, there's a whole second game, like a whole 8 worlds of all fully fleshed out, no different than the first, all the same thing as Kero Blaster, all new levels, kind of same feel to a lot of the levels. Like they feel familiar, have some familiar sections, but they're all new layouts, all new 3 coins to collect on each level. It's amazing.
I would argue that's to me, like, that's the game. That's the better game. Not to be like elitist or like you have to be really good at games to play this, because it is harder, but it's
super hard. Both are pretty hard.
Playing those levels, the secret levels, I'm like, oh my God. Like once I played through the secret levels, this like shot Super Mario 3D Land way up the charts for me as far as my favorite Mario games. Loved those levels.
They're really great, and they are hard. I've just gotten to like the second world of the secret level or the secret like worlds or whatever. And I'm getting my ass kicked. I mean, it's like, I don't like DJ. I know you're not going to agree, because like I have 180 lives right now, so it's like there's no risk of anything happening to me. But like I'm dying a bunch on all the levels, so I know there's not like a risk of a game over or getting like a huge setback. But like I'm still finding the levels challenging. I'm not beating them in one try. One thing that I will say as well, I've noticed that up to this point, I've only had 2 swimming levels. Like there's been a little bit of water here and there, on a level, for a quick section or an underwater thing or under like a tube, and you get a few coins or something. But like there's only been a couple of swimming levels, and I think that's another reason why this game really shines. Because it truly feels like a 3D sequel to Super Mario Brothers 3 to me. That's what it feels like. Like the levels almost feel like 2D levels that are realized in 3D. And they do a really great job with the camera as well. Like it's all kind of fixed cameras. You're able to kind of touch the touchscreen and like move it to one side or the other, but you're not able to do that while you're playing, really. You're just kind of able to stop and do that once in a while. And one of the nice things
gave them the foundation of Super Mario 3D World that way, as far as like camera perspective and everything else, although I still would argue that this is the better game.
I would agree 100%. It's definitely the tougher game too.
You didn't beat 3D World, Kevin.
Well, some of the final last challenging level is fucking impossible. I think that's the hardest thing in any Mario game that I've experienced. But yeah, 3D Land I just think is so great.
Oh my God, it's fantastic.
The music, again, I know we always save music for last, but it's so great. Like great mix of like remix tunes from specifically Mario 3 a lot, but also some new tunes as well. It's just got like a really great upbeat vibe. Like it almost, like the presentation almost kind of reminds me of a Sonic game a little bit.
I can see that.
The way the levels kind of scroll, it has this like jagged edge. It's probably just because the yellow colors they use. Like it reminds me of the like Sonic little Green Hill Zone thing that pops up.
There is a lot of that yellow in this game.
Yeah. But man, it's just so good. And you can unlock Luigi as a playable character who can jump higher, like has all different mechanics. But I didn't finish saying, but like when you're holding down the run button, the camera automatically does zoom out a little bit. I've just noticed that as I've been playing the game. So like it's just a really, really well made, well designed. And it's such a different take for a 3D Mario game, because it does kind of keep you on a more scripted path. It's not like these wide open levels, especially after playing something like Odyssey, which is my least favorite of the 3D Mario games. I just think it's a little more of it's an awesome game, but like, so you're just running around and doing random shit all the time. And like this game is so focused. Like it's just like,
I'm going to leave that alone.
Well, it's just like play this, like my favorite parts of Odyssey were the parts that felt like little mini 3D Land levels. Where you're just like, those were the best parts of the game, but those were few and far between and 3D Land is an entire game, 2 full games of that essentially. So
I think one of the reasons like I don't gravitate towards like Galaxy or like these 3D Land levels, like I like, for whatever reason, maybe it's just because my my first 3D Mario was 64, and like that feels more like a cohesive world. And I guess I don't really get that kind of a feel from like the more segmented 3D Mario games like Land and Galaxy. So
I think Galaxy feels the most like Mario 64 out of any of the other 3D Mario games.
I would say Odyssey does, personally.
Odyssey? Man, yeah. I think that game just sticks out like a sore thumb in the Mario
I agree with
series.
Randall. I think Odyssey does, but
you guys are nuts, man.
Yep, that's the conclusion.
What I will say is Super Mario 3D Land is like, to me, the perfect hybrid of 2D and 3D Mario styles. And I think that's what they were going for. And on top of that, I would say Super Mario 3D Land like justifies ownership of a 3DS on its own, let alone the great library there. Like, I love Super Mario 3D Land.
It's one of my favorite Mario games for sure. And I think I was with you, and I think I just when I bought my 3DS, and I think it was because I saw 3D Land on the shelf, and I was just like, now that I'm here in the store and I know this game is released and I don't own a 3DS, I don't think I can walk out of here without that system and that game in hand. And I'm pretty sure I bought it that day.
Beautiful thing.
Yeah. But man, I just love that game, and I don't think it gets a lot of love in the Mario universe. So
no, not comparatively.
I mean, to be honest, like the Bowser fight is all I can remember about that game. Like, I don't know what it is, but none of the levels that I played like register with me. But
man, as I replayed it, there were so many parts that I remembered. Like, this part. Like, there were so many. It's been years since I played that game too. But
yeah, same.
Yeah, but either way, love it. Sorry you don't like it as much, DJ. But
yeah, it's okay. What you gonna do? Not play Mario.
Well, yeah. Well, I know what you've been playing.
Mario 35, baby.
Oh, yeah. How have you been doing on that? Because I know you said, like, last time we talked about it, you were like, I won 5 in a row. I got that challenge. I'm probably going to stop playing. And you've been playing quite a bit since then.
Yeah, it's been pretty nuts. Like, I was going on a bit of a tear where it's just like I was just getting first or second for like 10 or 20 matches in a row. Is just like,
Jesus Christ.
But I think part of that, it could be like, there weren't a ton of levels that were generally made available. Like, it seems like, it was a lot of new people, so you're getting a lot of, level 1-1, 1-2, whatever. Like,
yeah,
I wasn't getting into like the latter half of the game at all. And like more recently, I've been, dipping into World 5, World 6, World 7. And it's been sweet how hectic it gets. Cause like, before it'd be like, I would lose because I ran out of time. I would never lose because I'm dying, but it's like now I'm losing because I'm dying because things are getting just like way too hectic to handle.
Jeez.
Okay, and I think we were kind of speculating on how that worked last time we talked about Mario 35 on the podcast. I can't remember if we had that kind of figured out, but we were wondering like, why do we keep playing 1-1 all the time?
Yeah.
Like, because we talked about it, I think, right after it was first released.
Right.
So I think now that, more people have unlocked these later stages, it's like, okay, and that's what, because we were trying to figure out what do you select? And I think, everybody gets to pick a stage and then it shuffles through all 35 of those. Yeah.
Yeah. And so like, I wonder if new levels are only becoming available when they have like those, special matches that they release like every certain amount of days. There's like the special
like
royals.
the daily
like
challenge type thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wonder if like that's how you get introduced to new levels, because the only way you can like unlock a new level to put in your playlist is you have to beat that level. But if you never had that level to begin with, how can you beat it? So I think it's got to be through that system. They're just periodically releasing.
That makes sense.
And then you just got to hope that you're in, a battle royale with someone who has a level that you don't have. I wish I could use like all the coins I've acquired to just like buy all the levels.
Yeah.
That would make sense. Yeah.
But I still got like 7 I need to unlock. So I probably am only going to stop once I've got all those. Right now I'm at level 96. And
sheesh.
Jesus Christ.
I think once you get to 100, it resets and you get like a star next to your name. So
nice.
I'll aim for that in the meantime.
Nice.
But yeah, man, it's been a great, just like, I want to kill like half an hour or so.
Totally.
Just pick that up, play like 2 or 3 rounds.
Yeah, I was just going to say I've been not as much as you, obviously, but I've been firing it up here and there, just like, 10, 15 minutes, or like this podcast is almost over and like I'm going to do something right after this, but like got a few minutes.
Yeah. It's tempted me to like go back and play the original, actually, which, we did back in the day, and, we had maybe a mixed experience with that, but I don't know. This is making me more confident. Even though I'll tell you, I didn't have a mixed experience. I did not like the first Mario.
You're too harsh on that game, Kevin. You're too harsh on it.
It's just there's no reason to play it. There's no reason to play it. If I have the option to play Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers, Mario Brothers 3, or Mario World, which one am I gonna pick? Come on, I'm never gonna pick Super Mario Brothers ever.
Not one once in a while. I do once in a while. But there's nostalgia there too, obviously.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But I like that it's...
I think there's an argument to be made that, like, if you want the hard experience, play the original.
Yeah, I would agree
like
with that.
3, but it's an easy game.
Yeah.
Like, I will admit that, like, nostalgia is the big factor of, like, why I'm attached to 3. I think if I were to play it now, it's just like, this is too easy.
Although some of the later levels of 3, I would say from World 6 on is not that easy.
I think
World 7 and 8 are pretty tough, but like I guess, the huge chunk of the game, you're just kind of flying your way through. It's not that hard, but especially with all the items they give you.
Right.
Can I ask why you think the first Super Mario Brothers is the hardest, both of you guys? Because I'll just say I think it's because it doesn't control that good. Like, again, for the time, fine. But I think the reason I die is because I flub the controls that don't work that well.
I think you have to get used to its own momentum, though.
I agree, but it doesn't feel good. At least to me, like...
There's a difference between the controls not working well and not working the way you want them to work. And I think it's more the latter. Like, you want them to work a certain way and they're not doing that. Yeah. But that doesn't mean, like, they're fucking up. Like, what happens in the game makes sense to me.
That's true, but, like, for example, like, one of my favorite 2D platformers is Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze.
Oh, is it?
And back to Donkey Kong Country Returns, the first time I booted that up, I was actually, like, pissed because I was expecting it to feel exactly like Donkey Kong Country, and DK feels like really heavy and weighty in the Donkey Kong Country Returns games, and I was like, this feels so shitty. Like, I was so like it. I don't know, it just felt so different. I was kind of ticked, and then but I got used to it, and I was like, man, I not prefer, but I love it, but I just can't. When I go back to the original Super Mario Brothers, I don't get that. Like, I never get comfortable with the controls.
I guess they're just baked into my being because I kind of grew up with that game and 3 kind of at the same time, just based on my age. Like, I had access to both of those, and I was a poorer kid, so I had an NES for a long time, and I just know those games and the gameplay inside and out. So I can go back to Super Mario Brothers at any time, but that's a big factor why.
That's fair. And what do you find challenging about it, DJ?
I mean, I think, little things like, I'm pretty sure, if you were to, jump and maybe you, hit a barrier, but, you're still trying to move to the right on your descent, I think the later Mario games, would let you, keep your momentum going midair, but I think original Mario does not let you. If you hit a barrier, you're not able to move.
Yep.
On your way down. So I mean, that's another one of those, it controls a little differently, and I think in such a way that it makes it harder. But also just they just dish out lives in Mario 3. It's hard to, I don't know, get a good cushion going in the original Mario, I think.
I agree.
Yeah. That is fair. That is fair.
Thank you.
Well, anyways, now that everyone knows how I feel about every Mario game, well, yeah, I think that's enough Mario talk for now. I've said enough, but anyways, I think we can wrap things up for this week, guys. If you're good to call it there,
it's very good.
Good deal. Well, as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. We've got all the links and everything at the bottom of the episode description, but we're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. Discord, come hang with us. We've got a little bit of action going on. We've been playing Killer Queen Black in there, so come and play some Killer Queen with us. Hopefully, I've been dying to get like a 4-on-4 with like 2 separate chat rooms going, one for each team
so fucking dope.
in the Discord. That'd be cool. So awesome. So come hang, come play some Killer Queen with us, and until next week, we will catch you then. Thanks for listening, and take care.
See ya.
Bye.
I called it, Kev. 185.
Oh my god, you're a madman, dude.
Getting into NBA territory there.
For real, that game's not even been out for a month, has it?
I don't think so.
Maybe about a month at the most.
How you feeling about that Pro controller?
Oh yeah.
Oh, you saw that?
Yeah.
Because I never told you guys. Yeah, it's the best.
Little upgrade over those broken Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.